I'm Emily.
Sitting in this cozy restaurant on my birthday, surrounded by friends and my daughter Lily, I'm flooded with a sense of peace and contentment. But it wasn't always like this. There was a time when the word loser echoed in my ears, a time when my family made me question my worth. It all started on what was supposed to be a joyous occasion, my birthday. I walked into my parents' house, filled with a glimmer of hope that this year would be different. The room was decorated with balloons, and there was a cake on the table, but little did I know the storm that awaited me. As I stood there, holding a gift from a coworker, my niece Mia, a mischievous 8-year-old, ran towards me. Before I could react, she snatched the gift out of my hands and threw it across the room. "Grandma says we don't take things from losers," she declared proudly. In that instant, the room erupted in laughter. My sister Olivia let out that annoying high-pitched giggle she uses to get attention. My mother covered her mouth, but the smile on her face was evident. My father, a strict and unfeeling man, laughed heartily as if it was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. Olivia waved her hand dismissively and said, "Relax, it's just a kid's joke." My father added coldly, "If you can't take a joke, then leave." For a moment, I considered apologizing just like I always did to keep the peace. But something inside me snapped. I grabbed my coat and walked out silently, leaving behind the so-called family celebration. When I got home, my phone was bombarded with messages. The group chat was full of blame. Olivia wrote, "You really made things awkward tonight." My father texted, "You embarrassed the whole family by storming out over a joke." My mother added a guilt-laden message, "Honey, you know how kids are. Don't overthink it. Your sister is very stressed. Maybe you could have handled it better." I stared at the screen in disbelief. They were rewriting what had happened. I realized that for years, I had been the family's safety net. When Olivia had money troubles, I'd helped her without hesitation. When my parents had medical bills, I'd worked extra hours to cover them. Yet here they were, treating me like a loser. My phone buzzed again. It was a voice message from my father. "Emily, you need to toughen up. Your sister has enough on her plate without you making everything about yourself. It was a joke. You walking out like that was disrespectful. If you keep this up, don't be surprised if you're not invited to family gatherings anymore." I listened to the message twice. The second time, I saved it. I started documenting all the times I'd helped them, the money I'd lent, the bills I'd paid. I was done being their doormat. I typed back to the group chat, having my birthday gift thrown on the floor, and being called a loser isn't a joke. If that's your idea of family humor, I'm not interested. I'll be rethinking my contributions to this family. Olivia replied, "Wow, drama queen." I ignored her. I started recording and saving evidence of their mistreatment, determined not to let them rewrite reality. A few days later, my mother texted me, "We're having everyone over on Sunday. Your father wants to clear the air. Please come." I knew what clear the air meant. They would tell me I was wrong, but I decided to go to show them I was done playing their game. When I arrived at my parents' house, the atmosphere was tense. My father sat at the head of the table, arms crossed. Olivia was scrolling through her phone, and Mia was playing with a tablet. My father started, "Your behavior the other night was unacceptable. You walked out of your own birthday dinner and made a scene." I calmly replied, she said, "Grandma says we don't take things from losers." That's not just a kid's misquote. The room grew quiet. Olivia rolled her eyes and said, "She's just a kid." She misheard me. My father jumped in. "Regardless, your reaction was wrong. You're too sensitive." I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder with bank statements. I laid them on the table and said, "Let's talk about what family really means." When Olivia couldn't pay her rent, who helped? When Dad had medical bills, who covered them? I've never thrown it in your faces, but now I'm the loser? No one spoke. My mother's face paled, and Olivia's cheeks turned red. My father snapped, "That has nothing to do with this." I replied firmly, "It has everything to do with it. I've been the one you lean on, and now you laugh at me. I'm done." I told them there would be no more financial help, and I'd only attend family events if there was basic respect. Olivia scoffed. You can't just cut us off. That's not how family works. I looked at her calmly and said, what you call family feels like exploitation. So yes, I can. After that meeting, my phone went quiet. But then I started seeing automatic payments related to my family on my banking app, my parents' utilities, a small monthly transfer to Olivia's account. I made a list and started canceling everything. Olivia texted me when her phone bill increased. Are you serious? That's so petty. I replied, I've helped for years. You're adults, and you need to be responsible for yourselves. My father called, demanding to know what I was doing. I told him I was done being their backup. He tried to guilt-trip me, saying my mother couldn't handle the stress. But I stood my ground. As time passed, the consequences started to show. Olivia vented on social media about someone in the family being obsessed with money. Some relatives believed her, but others reached out to me privately, saying what Mia did was wrong. Mia's school also called me. Her teacher said that in a class discussion about kindness and bullying, Mia had repeated the loser comment and said it was a normal joke in her family. The other kids were affected, and Mia seemed confused when she realized the impact of her words. I knew then that Olivia's toxic behavior was spreading. The school called Olivia in for a meeting, and she was furious, blaming me. But I hadn't done anything. Reality was catching up with them. Meanwhile, my life started to change for the better. At work, I was able to focus on a professional development course, and my manager noticed my improvement. She even recommended me for a senior position. At home, Lily was happier. We had more quality time together, and she noticed that I seemed happier too. She said, Mom, you seem happier now. You don't look tired anymore. As my next birthday approached, I decided to celebrate with Lily and my friends. We had a wonderful dinner, and Lily gave me a handmade card. She said, You're the bravest person I know because you left when they were mean to you. Her words touched my heart deeply. Later, my mother texted me a simple, happy birthday. I replied, Thank you. It was just a small, polite acknowledgement, but it represented so much. I had finally broken free from the chains of their expectations. A few weeks after my birthday, Olivia called me. She said they were behind on rent and needed my help. I listened to her, remembering all the times I'd been taken for granted. I told her, I'm not going to help you with rent. It's time for you to face the consequences. She was angry and accused me of revenge, but I told her it was justice. I said, You taught Mia that I was a loser. Now you're learning what it's like when the loser steps out of the role you wrote for her. A few days later, my mother called and asked if I was happy. I thought about my newfound freedom, my growing career, and my happy daughter. I answered honestly, I'm getting there. It's not perfect, but I'm not constantly exhausted and resentful anymore. Looking back, I realized that sometimes the most powerful revenge is living well without those who tried to bring you down. I've built a life filled with self, respect, and peace, and I'm finally choosing myself.